Okay, we're gonna go ahead and start the rolling pin project. I have the design that I'm gonna put on mine, and then I have a rolling pin that has most of the foam kind of scraped off of it. There's no way to get all of this off, and it'll still be fine. There are some grid lines that you can see, and so some of these might be accurate, and some of them might be very far from it. Okay, so you're just gonna have to make sure that you draw your lines and you make sure that you go off of that. Because some people who have done this in the past did not measure correctly. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. I'm going to just keep the grid and get rid of all the extra paper. And then I'm going to use this to help me measure. This is the size that it needs to be, so you want to use the full grid. It could be that you won't need like the whole length of this, because some of them are a little bit different. Like this one, I guess you can't see from there. This one is going to be like, let's see, like half of one of these boxes short. Okay, and so you could go ahead and cut that off now if you wanted to. I think I'm going to, just so I know that it's just going to fit on there. But I guess we'll talk about one reason or one thing that we'll have to make sure that we figure out. So we can trim that part off. The first thing we need to do is figure out where all of these grid lines are going to go. And so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this around. And you can see how that like perfectly lines up. I mean, this is pretty awesome that it does that. So then this turns into one piece at the end. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and cut that out. What you need to do, and you can see this on this side that somebody did this in Sharpie. I'll probably do it on this side. We're going to have to divide where all the boxes are going to go. And so that means that you're going to have to mark. So I'm going to hold this and I'm going to mark every inch. And so that's going to be like every 4 of these boxes. Okay, so if you need to count the boxes or if you can see where this goes, but we need a grid on here so we can put all of your pieces on. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'd be marking here. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. There. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I have those marked, and then I'm going to mark the other side. Okay, this one's a little bit harder. I could go ahead and cut this off if I wanted to, but I would have to know that this side is going to be the smaller side. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave it. So I'm going to just go off of my pencil marks so you can see that mark, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I have all those pieces on here, so I can take this part off. I'm going to go ahead and when you see this, I'm going to go ahead and mark and drag that line around to the top of the rolling pin so I can see where this is. Okay, so I've got all of those where I can see the top. So every inch or every 4 of these boxes. I've got the same thing here. So I would need to drag these down. If it's on top of something that's kind of sticky, you just have to keep, rubbing the pencil so it'll work. Okay, so there should be 6. Okay, and so I did both of them at the same time because I want these to be in the same place, so when I connect them that it's going to be level. You are going to need a ruler. This is a frustrating part of this project. You could have somebody maybe hold it for you, okay, if you have someone next to you. It's a little different than it was last semester, but you will need to draw a line all the way down, okay, and I can help you, but I'm going to hold it, and I think I can go ahead and get this to work. Okay, so you can see my line there, and then I would just turn and do the same thing. Looks like twice gives me a better mark. And then last one. Okay, so that helps me get like these vertically. What I'm gonna need to do next is do the pieces that are every inch down here. When we cut this is the only reason that I'm leery about cutting it, is because once you cut it and you make all these boxes, one set of boxes is going to be a little bit smaller. So you just don't want to put the foam from the smaller piece in the bigger box. Okay, so you just have to make sure that you remember, like, this is the smaller side, so I can put like a little S over here, and then I can cut this part off. Okay, so this is going to go here, so I'm just going to go ahead and mark using this. If you hold this up here, you can do the same thing. So every inch you would be marking, so here and here, here. Okay, so I've got all of those, and now I have to get a line all the way around. This has worked well with just a piece here. You have to wrap this, and as long as this is flush, okay, meaning you don't have it like twisted funny like that. If it's tight, then you can do this all at one time. Okay, so you have to wrap it around. You can see how it's like right on top all the way around. Okay, so I would be able to take this and just draw my line. The paper is thicker than you think, and that you can kind of draw along that. Okay, so I've got that one. Come on. Okay, so now I can hold this really tight, and then, oh, you know what? These might not twist like they did last time because they're sticky. So I'm just going to move it again and line it back up. Okay, so this is really the hardest part, is the rolling pin, or is dividing this out on the rolling pin. The rest of it goes pretty quick. Okay, so you can see that I've got all these like boxes that are showing up, right? Okay, so we would continue to do this all the way down. I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to go ahead and stop, and you can see how that's like crooked. So you would need to make sure that you know, get this on here where it's not. Okay, so last one, and then I'll show you the next part of this. I don't see my line. Hope it's there. Okay. So you can see how that's going to start showing that grid as you continue. I've just got 4 more left, and so that's what I'm looking at. So now I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to have to glue my foam to the back of this. And so I need a glue stick, and let me grab a foam because I don't think I have it. Okay, so we have to make sure that we put this on the right side. There is like some extra foam or extra like of the paper that you want to make sure that you don't have that. And this one has a lot of it. And so I'm just going to not cut the foam, but cut that paper off. And so this is going to get glued to the back of it. It's going to be like the other side of the sticker. We want the foam to stick to this. And so if we glue it to the foam, you're going to have paper on top of the foam. And so this way, if we glue it on this side, this part peels off and you don't have anything stuck to it. Okay, so hang with me. We got just a couple things left. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this. So just coat the back of this really well. Okay, the whole thing. And I think this is changed as I've done this project, because I don't know that we completely did this the whole way the first time. Okay, so this is the side I trimmed. I'm going to line this up and make sure it's right where I want it to be and press that down. You are going to have a little extra foam, but this is going to work. This will then get transferred onto here. Okay, and so what you can do is just use your scissors and cut this out. At least with this design, I don't have anything like floating in the center. All of these are like solid shapes. Okay, if you have something that's like in the center of it, then you could do a couple of things. This person cut through one side. Do you see this? They cut through this side and kind of cut this out, and that worked for them. They cut through this side and cut all of that out. But you still kind of see those seams. This person, they cut like all of these seams. So they cut here and here and here and here, and they just tacked everything together. And so some of them are, I think, more precise than others, but they ended up cutting like lots of sections, okay? Part of that is because we had to do some of this at home and I couldn't send X-Acto knives home. If you're at school, then you can use an X-Acto knife and a cutting mat anytime. And so then you can use it. So I'm going to just show you just a section of this on how this would go together. This is the top like corner of this. So you would just use your scissors and cut this out. Okay. And so this is going to be, if you're looking at it, it needs to be like the corner of one of these. Okay, so you know that it hits there, and you know that it hits the cross section on this. Maybe I need to zoom in. Okay, so you're going to peel this off, and then this will just line up right like that. So it sticks, it's done. You move to the next one. This one is right in the center. And that piece came off anyways. And so that's going to be, if you look at this, this is going to be in the center, right?